Hello and welcome to the Vision-Led Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Arin Fugate. I am the creator of the Moon Magic Method and the co-founder of the Visionary Leaders Collective. I am on a mission to remind you that your intuition is always guiding you to your divine purpose. You were born at this time for a very important reason, and the time is now to shine in your truth. On this show, we talk about listening to your intuition, cultivating a positive mindset, and next level leadership. If you're new here, welcome to the show. You're in the right place if you feel like you are a visionary leader ready to up level your life and live in line with your true calling. Today on the show, we are talking with Willow Holloway. Willow is a clinical herbalist and business owner of Ashland's Elder Apothecary. She was raised by the Pacific Ocean along the Mariana's Trench. You'll have to tell us about that. By tropical flora, sun, seafood, and coconuts. She has a degree in microbiology and chemistry and is continually expanding into her gifts as a healing arts practitioner. Welcome to the show, Willow.
Thank you, Arin, for having me. Really glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. So, I want to share with the audience a little bit about what I know of your incredible community center, the Apothecary, Elder Apothecary in Ashland. And then we really want to hear how this, I know it's a dream for you, came to be.
Mm.
So, we both live in this beautiful Southern Oregon town, and we have a cute little
Mm.
downtown of Ashland. And I remember during
Mm.
the pandemic, the shop space that used to be a children's clothing store said, apothecary coming soon. And I was like, oh, that's so exciting. And when you opened and we finally got to come into the shop, you have created such an incredible vibe and such a beautiful
Mm.
space for medicine and community and so much beauty. And I've loved coming there. I love bringing my children there, and I've really just watched it flourish. And recently, you did a social media post where I was like, oh, I got to get her on the show. So, would you please tell us how this business came to be and what your vision is?
Yeah, for sure. Um, I think this vision was like planted in me as a seed as a stay-at-home mama, and that's where it really grew into a sprout. Um, After college, I I was supposed to go to med school, and I was shadowing doctors. I was in different positions, shadowing them in hospitals and clinics. And throughout that process, I could never see myself in their position, if that makes sense. And I couldn't see myself working in a hospital or a clinic. And I think it's because I was quite changed by college. And the community that I was introduced to at Oregon State University was a community from Southern Oregon. And that's where I met my husband and just kind of got woven into the Southern Oregon way of doing things there from Williams. And so they're all, hippies. And I definitely was not familiar with that lifestyle. I was coming from Guam. So yeah, I was impacted, and I tried to find my way towards working in health and wellness without going to med school. And the way that I kind of found was through doula work and through midwifery work. I got certified as a doula and was practicing, and then was about to begin my my home midwifery training when I got pregnant with my first son. And I was like, oh, okay, so maybe now is not the best time to start training for home midwifery. I didn't want to be um, just in and out of my son's life being on call for midwifery. So I found another way, and that other way was herbalism. I started learning about herbs in my doula training, and it was an area that I was particularly interested in. It very much caught my attention. So while I was home with my first son, um, I, I enrolled in herbalism school, clinical herbalism school, um, and I learned at home and in the Pacific Northwest forests while I was, hiking with him and my husband. And um, after my training, just started up my own like in-home practice with friends and family and, you know, just the little community that was around me. And just kept that going and started teaching in Portland. That's where I was at the time. And when my second son got to this age where he was old enough to transition for a move, we always knew we wanted to move. I started to have these feelings and this like this like whisper of, oh, a business wants to be birthed through you. And it was really scary because it's like, no, I don't want to, I don't want to own my own business. and and then it just kept coming. So I was like, okay, we got to listen. So um, when we were looking for a place to land after moving from Portland, we were looking at property. Um, we wanted to move somewhere with more sun because I'm a brown skinned woman and I just needed more sun. And we zeroed in on Southern Oregon, and it was a good compromise for us because we wanted more sun, but we didn't want to go quite all the way to California. Um, and we landed in Ashland. And I just told myself, okay, well, wherever we land, if there is no apothecary there, then I would love to open up an apothecary. Being an herbalist myself, I just thought I would love to bring that to my community and to work with herbs every day. And it just so happened that Ashland didn't quite have an apothecary. It does have Allswell, but Allswell doesn't feature the amazing organic medicinal herbs that are grown in this area. Um, so yeah, that was the beginning. And when I first moved here, there was um, that space was for lease. That space where small change used to be. And I wasn't quite ready yet because I hadn't weaned my youngest son. So I just kind of trusted and told myself if it's still available by the time I wean my son 1 year later, then it's meant to be and I'm going to go for it. And it was. It's like, oh, this is too good. It can't be a coincidence, you know? So I weaned my youngest son and I was like, okay, it's time. And that's when I reached out to my mother, who had just sold her childcare and preschool center in Portland. And I asked her to go in on it with me so that I could have some support so that I could have like a mentor who had done small business before, and also someone on my team that I really trust and get along well with, which I'm incredibly lucky that that can be my mother. Um, she thought about it for a while uh, because she had just, sold her business. So she's like, I'll think about it. And I'm very lucky that she said yes. I think I still would have done it even if she had not, but um, it has been so wonderful to walk this path with her and to create from our hearts together as a feminine duo, and to bring what we really want to see in our community here to Ashland through this space. Um, yeah, so that's the gist of it.
Oh, wow. I mean, there's so much there that I want to kind of explore and ask you about, especially the listeners of this podcast. They're often people who are in business for the first time, have that calling on their heart,
Mm,
like you're talking about. And so I feel like you have
mm,
wisdom to share. And I know there's people listening that are going to get so much from this. So the first thing I really heard you say that spoke to me was that whispering of intuition. I know what
mm,
you're talking about. I'm sure other people
yeah.
know what they're talking about. And
Hmm.
I'm curious, what has happened in your life, or how have you cultivated that trust? How did you know first to hear it and then to trust, even though you're like, I don't want to start a business, you still walked towards it because it was there? How has that come to be a part of who you are as a person?
Ah, that's a great question. It has, this might be frustrating for other people to hear, but it has always been a trait for me. It wasn't something that I developed. It wasn't something that I learned along the way. It's always been a part of me ever since I was a really little girl. I have always just trusted the knowing. And I grew up Catholic, so that could be part of it. I had this early introduction to faith and um, messages from beyond what we can explain. And yeah, so maybe that's it. I was an incredibly spiritual child. I was really touched by spirit, and I didn't keep my journals from when I was little, but if I did, and you could paw through them, they would they would sound quite profound for a little one. And yeah, so I think that's always been a part of me. And I've always been someone who can hear the whisper or listen to the download or whatever you want to call it, and be like, okay, if I hear this over and over again, it's time. Maybe it's partly because I just don't want to keep being bothered by the voice. It's like, okay, I'm doing it. All right, I'm doing it now. It's cool. Like, stop
Yeah,
bothering me. I'm getting to it.
for sure.
Who knows?
I know
Um,
what you mean. It can get
yeah, but
very annoying practically when spirit
it just
or
keeps coming. You're
whatever it
like,
is that's
okay,
coming
spirit,
through.
we're
Yeah.
listening. I'm doing the thing. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and I'm super grateful to have that be so easy for me. For other people, it's not. Um, it has gotten me into a lot of trouble though, growing up, to be a kid that trusts their inner knowing and is like, this is what I'm gonna do, whether it is really kosher or not with family and community and society. Yeah.
Do you have children now that trust their inner knowing?
Yes. Oh my gosh, so much. And I'm really starting to realize how much of a headache I probably was as a kid because
Oh my,
they have so much willpower, you know. They both of my sons are like this. They just know what they want, and it's really hard to sway them. And they, you know, there are, I think, lots of negative words that can be attributed to a trait like that, but like bullheaded or stubborn, or I got called those things as a kid, definitely, for sure. But for me as a mama, I always try to remind myself, okay, this may be really frustrating right now, but it's going to serve them so well when they're older. And I don't want to squash that fire. Um, and how do I compromise? How do I work around this? You know, how do I speak to reason and really show them that I'm on their side? That's kind of where I try to come from most of the time. Of course, I'm not perfect. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. I have conversations with my daughters, and I just in the back of my head go, you just watch out what you're cultivating in a good way. Just that feeling of like, I'm cultivating strong, opinionated women that you are not going to be able to
Mm,
convince otherwise. And it's beautiful, but whoa, I like hold on to my seats as a mama. I love this
right.
topic.
Yeah,
Let's go
I
here for a
know.
moment. You're
Cool.
you're a mom and a business
Mm,
owner, and I know what
mm,
that's like. It's a very interesting path to take. What are some thoughts or wisdoms you have on that, especially for anyone listening who is a mom and maybe has that calling coming? That must have been a just an interesting moment for you. Not yet weaned. I
mm,
need to start a business. I don't
mm.
want to start a business. I'd love to hear just a little bit of
Yeah.
your mom heart.
Mm, yeah. Um, well, I think because it was modeled to me, it just felt like the way to keep continuing on with. So I think I was one, and then by the time when I was one, my mother started um, educating herself around childhood education because she saw that there was no preschool on Guam that she really wanted to put me in. So she thought, okay, I'm just going to make my own. And then by the time I was 3, I think that's the timing, um, she and my father had created a preschool center daycare. And um, it definitely was, you know, hard at times to, as a kid, see that, you know, the this this priority of the business was really important and not yet be able to understand that me as a kid, um, I am definitely as important, if not more important, and that's why um, they kept on keeping on with it. Um, and gosh, I think the thought that I had was, okay, I said no to the being on call as a midwife, right? I didn't quite want to have be that kind of mama for my boys. Um, but I also knew that all of my joy was not in stay-at-home mothering. You know, I really love my boys, and I love spending time with them, but all of my joy is not there. And that does not make me better or worse than somebody else who chooses to be at stay-at-home mama. It's just a knowing that I had. And it would have been a disservice to them to not follow my joy. And even though it is hard sometimes, lots of times, I love being in the position where I get to model for them that through hard work, through devotion, through dedication, through faith, that they can follow their dreams, that they can pursue their joy as a beacon for where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to do in life, and that they can be successful at supporting themselves, supporting their family if need be, and also create positive impact in their community, which is another really important thing for me. Because everything is connected, right? What we do as individuals ripples out everywhere. So yeah, it was really important for me to create a business from my heart and from my joy and impact positively with my community, and also trust that my boys will be able to see through time, even if not right now while they're young, they'll be able to see through time what is possible for them. Because our brains as humans works via mirror neurons, right? That's how we learn to do things. That's how we learn to ride a bike. That's how we learn to walk. Our mirror neurons in our brain sees another human doing something, and the process is just this, aha, I can do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so struck by this grounded leadership quality that you have through your voice and how you're telling stories and what I've watched you create in the community. And I just want to honor it in you and speak to that. You are really a shining example as a mom and a woman of someone who knows their truth and what is so important to you and how that ripples out to the community. And as a mom and a business owner, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate seeing it modeled, because it's a daily struggle as a mom sometimes to be like, I've got these babies who I love more than anything, and I have a calling in my heart that I also love.
Yeah.
It's another baby, just like you said. And it's, making me cry a little bit because I know
Yeah.
what that takes, and you're exemplifying it in a beautiful way. And I so appreciate you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful reflection. And yeah, you're right. We mamas hold and we carry a torch for a lot. And also,
We
belated Happy
do. So
Mother's
all
Day
the
to
moms.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The recording of this podcast is the day after Mama's Day, and Mother's Day for me is one of every single emotion. Uh, so I'm tender
Totally.
still today. And just a moment to everyone listening, however you experience Mother's Day. We all come from Mama Earth, and we all come from a mother.
Totally.
And I think it's a day for all of it, right? All the emotions,
Yeah.
all the love, all the sadness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday for Mother's Day, it just felt like the most luxurious Mother's Day that I ever had. And my boys brought me brunch in bed, and I got to watch some Outlander with my brunch in bed. And then I got to meet up with some mama friends of mine here in the Green Springs. That's where I live, in the Cascade Siskiyou National Monument. I got to meet up with mama friends, and we went underground into what's called a kiva, on one of my mama friends, her property. Her and her partner had a kiva built, and it's basically like they dug a deep, deep, deep hole in the ground, and then they plastered it and they painted it beautiful, beautiful blue. And we all climbed down into that kiva as mamas. I think there was like 5 mamas. And we had some candles lit at the beginning, but then we blew them all out and we closed the top hatch door, and it was pitch black. And we were all underground on Mama's Day. And it was really interesting to hear from the other mamas that as soon as all the light went out, we could feel the grief that we don't express as mothers, that we hold. We could feel everything that we hold. And we just took a moment to speak about our experience as mothers. And we like sat in circle and we sang songs and we cried and we howled and we did some like impromptu poem, like circle round poems. Um, and then afterwards we went and just like sweated it all out in the sauna. That's also on the land. And the kids on the land brought us cookies and they brought us cute little rainbow drawings. And um, afterwards, I left feeling so cleansed of like tears and sweat and grit. And I got to feel so held in Mama Earth, which is something that us mamas don't usually get to feel, you know? We do the holding. We don't usually get to feel held. And it was such a special moment. And I think it really stoked the fire for me for what it means to be a steward for the earth, for what it means to um, create business and build community from this place of love for the earth. And it really, this connection that we have as women for the earth is something that we have to keep carrying a torch for. And that's so important.
Yeah, wow. That sounds like such an incredible ceremony. And what
That
you're
was
speaking
great.
of is, yeah, it sounds so good. And what you're just reminding me is we have this really big torch, which is the care of
Mm,
the earth. And as moms,
yeah.
I know everyone feels it, but once you become a mom, you're like,
Hmm.
oh, there has to be a planet for my babies to grow up on. This is so much more than just me
Absolutely.
recycling or and business. And that's, I don't think the answer is for us to all go live on a mountaintop and meditate, although I'd love to do that for the rest of my life. But if we can be in business, if we can be in this
Mm,
reality, I mean, dare I
hmm.
say capitalism, because that's what we're in, but we can
Yeah.
change it by being fully involved. I feel like that's a part of my mission, and I see it in your business and why I love supporting your business. And the other thing that came to mind when you were talking about this ceremony was this bridge that you get to be, because I know there are so many people who have never even imagined
Mm.
being with a group of moms, going underground, like just all the elements of healing that you get to bring now. Where I understand that
Mm.
you could have become a medical doctor, and I honor healthcare workers and everything they do, but
Yeah,
you're bringing medicine.
absolutely.
And just walking into your
Mm.
shop is like that. It's like, oh, this could be how life is. The herbs, and you
Mm.
have the music there, and the tea, and the community, and it's so beautiful. And please keep
Thank
carrying the
you.
torch, because we
Thank you
love it.
so
Those of us
much.
that get to, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna transition because, oh my gosh, this is one of my longest interviews. It's been beautiful, but I do want to make sure people know how to connect with you. So,
Yeah,
of course, if you're in Ashland, come to Elder Apothecary. You have just amazing
please do.
classes. My husband is actually putting on a conscious hip hop show there May 21st. So
Oh,
come to
that's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you just have cool things. You have like healing sound baths and feng shui with crystals, and go to the
Mm.
website. It's elderapothecary.love. You'll see all
Yeah.
the events.
Mhm.
Do you do some mail order? If
Yeah.
someone doesn't live here, can they also shop?
Yes, they
Cool.
can also shop. We're just getting our online shop started. Right now we have our flower essences up there, but we are working diligently on getting our herbs up, our bulk tinctures, our other in-house offerings like our syrups, our tea blends, and also the other brands that we carry. If they will let us put them online as well, you can shop them. Um, and we're pretty active on Instagram. That's it's amazing that we can have free marketing that way. So pop on there and get to know us. And I do my best to answer all the questions in the DMs, although sometimes I don't. I don't get to all of them, but eventually leave a comment, try to DM me. Um, yeah, that would be another great way to connect with us.
Beautiful. My favorite drink at your shop, in case anyone's wondering, is your mushroom mocha. Absolutely delicious. And I think you sell the powder. If you want to take it home, you can get that.
Well, not yet, but very soon.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, very soon.
Good, good. And then I believe you told me you had a gift for everyone. Do you want to tell us about that gift? It was
Oh,
10, like,
yes.
whoops.
Yeah.
So I have 10% off at Blue Blocks with the code ELDER. So please tell us about that gift.
Yeah. Yeah. I am, as you know, super passionate about health and wellness, and I really love this company, Blue Blocks. They make amazing products that are centered around um, just cultivating health around our light exposure in the world. Blue light is not so great for our health, especially if it's past sunset. Um, and yeah, so if you use the code ELDER, you can get, what was it? Was it 15% off that
10,
I
I think it's
told you?
10% off. 10% off?
Okay, great. Yeah. So yes, we've partnered with them, and we're going to be bringing their products into the shop as well. Um, I use their glasses. I use their. Um, they have these EMF blocking stickers that I use. They have beautiful light bulbs and desk lamps and book reading lamps. Um, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And all of their products are backed up by science because they test everything in the lab, which is amazing. Um, I still have that little scientist inside of me that like wants the proof and you know wants it all to be backed up. So that is our gift through that company. And then you can also, like, if you're interested in ordering something online, you can call in and just mention that you found us through your podcast, and we would love to also give you a 10% discount on an order online.
Fabulous. So call the Apothecary and say you heard it on the
Yeah.
Vision-Led Leadership podcast. I'll put that in the show notes,
Mm.
the 10% off at both places. And is there anything you want to just leave us with before we close up?
Um, I guess I just want to emphasize possibility in your life. If you are thinking about starting a business, I hope you have taken some courage from anything that I've shared. And yeah, I just want to say I truly believe in anything anybody from your community is wanting to build in this world, and just champion that for yourself. You can do it.
Yes, beautiful. We're the ones creating the reality. So let's go create some magic. Willow,
Yeah.
thank you so much for talking to me today. This has been a beautiful conversation. For all the listeners, if you resonated with something that was said today, please screenshot this episode and share it with a friend. You can tag Willow on Instagram
Mm.
at Elder Apothecary. I'm over there as Jasmine and Juniper Living. And we just want to grow the community, because the more
Yeah.
vision-led entrepreneurs that we have in the world, the cooler the world is going to be, and it will be around for a long time.
Yes.
So our babies
Yes.
and their babies can just enjoy all this goodness. Let's do it. Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much, Arin.
See you all next time. Bye.